The next part I want to talk to you about is telling your story through the PowerPoint. And I like to say that you need 15 slides in 15 minutes. You'll never be able to tell your story in 15 minutes if people ask you questions. But assuming there are no questions, 15 slides is about all you're going to get. In actual practice, when you give the presentation, if you are successful in getting permission to tell your story, then you will be interrupted a lot by venture capitalists or by investors or angels, because you'll land on a particular slide that they like, and they will focus on it. And if they're really getting into it, they will try to co-create with you, because investors have a big ego, and they're smart generally, and if they can figure out how to co-create with you, that's great, and you should let them do it. You should encourage them to do it. You should compliment if they are doing it in a way so that they get bought in to your process. So how do we construct these 15 slides? Most decks that I've seen when people come to me, when CEOs come to me, then maybe they have 30 slides. And I'll go through the slides with them. I'll politely say, well, these are interesting. We'll come back to them, and we'll set that deck aside. In fact, all of the graduates of the boot camp never look back. We construct the slides together, these 15 slides together, and rarely do we refer to the original PowerPoint. So how do we choose these slides? First of all, coming out of the nugget, there'll be one or two slides that have to do with the elevator pitch. Remember, the elevator pitch has three parts: mission, strategy, and tactic. And you've started with that, so you want to reinforce, you want to reuse your mission statement, your strategy, and your tactics throughout the slides so that you're reinforcing it. So generally the vision or the nugget drives about 2 slides and is used in other slides to reinforce it. The deal scrubber may have 2 or 3 slides coming out of it, particularly if there's a weak area that we need to reinforce in the story to establish trustworthiness or marketability, and particularly if you don't have revenues. If you don't have revenues, you represent a higher risk to the investor, and so we need to look for surrogates for the revenues. What are surrogates for the revenues? This is when you don't have revenues. It could be good focus group results. It could be LOI. There's a company that just finished the boot camp. They don't have revenues, but they have LOIs from about 7 customers, and they're pretty impressive big name customers. So that's a good surrogate as well. Another surrogate could be alpha or beta test results, where you have the beta unit at a customer and you've got the test results. So if you have revenues, we're gonna obviously parade that and talk about it a lot. If you don't have revenues, we're gonna have to work extra hard to get those surrogates in there. Another aspect, one of the major aspects that's driving these 15 slides will be the exercises and the questions out of Aulette's book. I mentioned some of them, the beachheads considered. So you'll have a slide with 6 or 7 beachheads considered and the pro and cons of each beachhead. And then you'll have another slide related to the beachhead selected and why you selected it. What are the pros and cons of that? And we'll want to know what the lifetime value of the customer is, and we'll want to know what the COCA is for that beachhead selected. So there'll be a slide on lifetime value and COCA, as well as on the beachhead, as I mentioned. In addition, you will obviously want a couple of slides on the financials. In general, investors don't believe your financials because they are burned so many times. I can tell you that of the 18 companies that I invested in Shepherd Ventures, none of the companies met their financial projections. They all came in and said, well, you know, we need $5 million, and in 3 years we're going to be at $25 million in revenue, and